Yes, let's move on to Ice Chips, episode 8 of season 3. In this episode, we are finally getting to the point where Sugar, aka Natalie, who has been pregnant for some time, we get some movement in that story. She is headed off to a restaurant supply store. Everybody in the restaurant has put their phones in the locker, which was sort of a convenient thing to mention in the episode before. So she can't reach anyone. Goes into labor at this store. She's on the way to the hospital. Pete is still out of town. She sees no other option but to call her mom, Donna, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, who does meet her at the hospital. And the chaos begins there, just in telling Sugar what to do, how to act, what to get, what not to get. But during Sugar's labor, Donna is able to calm her down, and the two bond over stories of Mikey, Carmi, and Sugar's births. Sugar tells Donna that she originally did not want to tell her about the pregnancy because she was worried about exposing her child to the dysfunction of their family. Pete does finally arrive in time for the baby to come, releasing Donna of her duties, and Donna is able to go back to the waiting room where she is just sort of collapses and is comforted by the facts, waiting for the baby to come. So another sort of standalone episode, this one focusing a lot obviously on Donna and Sugar outside the restaurant. A lot of tension, the first half of some real chaos and anxious moments, but real sweet, poignant, emotional stuff towards the end. You said this might be your favorite. What do you like most about this episode?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that's where I mean her performance as Donna is just so compelling, and she's
Yep.
just so great in the role. Um, and this is what we get of Donna in season 3. And yeah, I just thought it was a really powerful episode. Got me thinking a lot about mothers and
Hmm.
motherhood. And before I forget, one thing I wanted to talk about with you briefly is what do you think of the fact that Natalie tries to call Claire
Ooh.
before she calls mom, right? It's kind of a humorous moment because she's telling
Yeah.
her car to call Claire, and it's like calling the bear. She's like, no, no, no. Call, right? That happens a couple of times. And then she finally gets off to the side of the road. She's frustrated, and then she decides, call mom. But what do you think about the fact
Yeah.
that she tries
I
Claire
I didn't
first?
think of it as much of, oh, I'll just call anybody before I call my mom. I thought it more of I'm calling Claire, the medical professional, to try to get me some
Mhm.
help here. I didn't take it as um, I will try everyone in my contact list on my phone before I call my mom, but she's kind of struggling to get to the hospital and what she should do. So I want Claire to help her answer some of those questions. Then when she just can get no one, it's okay, it's Donna time.
Yeah, I mean, look, Claire's not a bad choice,
Right.
right? They have a relationship. There's a doctor, right? I mean, but then, I mean, she does kind of change her mind too, because once she's at the side of the road, she could theoretically get out her phone and call
Right.
Claire, right? Um, but instead she called mom. So I don't know, maybe in part it was a sign of her resistance towards calling her mother. I mean, I do think there was some level of that, Ryan. She
Yeah.
is thinking of anyone she could possibly call before she calls Donna, whom she has not told she's pregnant.
Okay, so this is something I want to clarify. So I think that, yes, I understand from the conversations, this call is the first time Donna knows that Sugar is pregnant. That's correct, yes?
No,
Okay.
because Pete told her in the season 2 finale.
Ah, that's right. That's right. He sort of let it slip. I forgot about that.
Hmm. So Donna knew that Sugar was pregnant, but
Okay.
Sugar had not told her mother about it.
That's
Right.
right. She
So
she is
that
not she's not gone to Natalie and said, "Why haven't you said anything to me?"
right. Yeah.
Okay.
And that hasn't told her anything. And Pete's kept his mouth shut,
Yeah.
apparently, about that encounter that they had in the street outside of the bear in the season 2 finale. So you have that whole dynamic, which is giving Donna the opening to ask why
Hmm.
Natalie hasn't told her about the pregnancy. The tension of the relationship is there
Yep.
throughout. Um, I'm struggling to find the next thing to talk about. Ryan, what do you got? Give
Yeah,
me.
so I found it interesting that the thing that they connect over, well, it's so much breathe and don't do this, don't tell me what to do. You need the epidural. I don't want, all this stuff at the beginning. And the thing that finally gets them calm and connected to one another is talking about, ironically, talking about family. The thing that Sugar wants to have her child avoid and why she's not told her mother is that going back and learning about what her mom went through, learning what it was like for her two brothers, learning um, what Donna had to do, sometimes alone, sometimes with their father, sometimes with the help of other friends. Just understanding her mom a little bit more gives that, just opens the door cracked where they can connect where they haven't been able to. It seems like for years, right? Every time we've seen them together, it's either been overwhelming tension, like with fishes, or they're avoiding one another, like in the season 2 finale, where they won't, Donna won't go in and talk to her and see what's going on. So they finally use family as a way to connect. I just found a little bit a little bit ironic in the sense that um not Donna, Natalie comes out and says, this family, our dysfunction is what I've wanted this child to avoid. They're going to use that to try to reconnect here.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I got to thinking about it too, though, in terms of like, I guess my thought, I want to frame it as something like the general versus the particular or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because in general, there's a lot of problems here. And that includes with Donna and her personality, which, look, Nat loves her mother. I don't think that's
Yeah.
ever been
Yeah.
the issue. The problem, if we go back to Fishes, is what kind of thing might she do?
Yeah.
Will she freak out? How will she freak out? Um, what will the damage of that be? And if you recall, if you think back to Sugar and Fishes, she was constantly just like trying to keep things calm enough,
Yeah.
right? Like that was her primary motivation. But what we get here is, I think the connection you're mentioning, what I found myself thinking about is in this particular situation, because Donna can find a way to be there for her daughter in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
You're in labor. I've done this. Let's talk about my experiences doing this, right? And she can help Nat along, just focused in on the situation that they're in. Whereas, in contrast, in the season 2 finale, the situation of going to the family
Mm.
night, she couldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She ultimately found herself unable to do that.
And I think it was, it's hard to read a lot into what Donna feels and things that are important to her, but I think she says that, I was getting my hair done or something, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, the things that probably are important to her that bring her comfort, she would have dropped whatever it was to Natalie's side. I think in some ways, I don't know. I'm trying to think if she regrets not going in Friends and Family Night, especially after Pete let slip that they were going to have a child. Has that been weighing on her? We don't get the impression that she and Natalie have talked much since then,
Or at all.
or at all. And so yeah, so how is Donna feeling? And it's interesting that Mikey and Carmi and Natalie point to Donna as, she's got all the problems, she's got all the problems. But she's the one I think who really drops everything to do something for them whenever they need her.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, look, I don't have a diagnosis and I'm not trying to play armchair psychiatrist, but Donna is neurotic and
Yeah.
she knows that she's neurotic, right? Like she knows that she is not the
Yeah.
paragon of mental health, right? When Sugar says, it's not you, it's everything you bring with you,
Yeah.
or however she puts that exactly. Donna knows what she's talking about. She said, yeah, I've been
Yeah.
trying to work on that,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
hard, you
Yeah.
know?
And I think that there is a recognition of that. And I believe in the episode, she says, yes, I'm working on that. I'm trying to get better. I understand it. There's just sort of a sense of acceptance of it. And particularly in this new stage of our life where I am a grandmother, that I want to be a part of this life. And so there are things I'm going to have to work on to be a part of that life.
Right. But at the same time, as soon as Pete shows up, she just leaves the room,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I'm not criticizing her for.
Yeah. I think
I think
that
it's appropriate, but
it
there's something to
is.
think about there.
It's a recognition of where her place is, right? That Pete is the one who should be there in that moment. She played the role that she was supposed to play. I think that she played it better than any of us going into that episode would have thought that she would have played the role. And then, yeah, I think that Donna not acting, manic or in a neurotic state when Pete shows up and demanding to stay or demanding that, I'd be here till the end, sort of shows one small step of improvement, maybe just that Donna's accepting sort of what's going on here.
Yeah, or at least, thinking about the experiences that she relays, which you can tell she was also neurotic during those
Yep.
when she was in labor with her kids. But that's not the point. I think what comes through her anecdotes is that she felt often that control was being taken away from her
Mm-hmm.
and so on, right? And that she can pull on that to not be too controlling with regards to Natalie, right? Like she
Yeah.
thinks you're going to want an epidural. This is going to hurt a lot, but
Yeah.
she ultimately says, whatever you want. No, it's up to
Yeah.
you, right? This
Yeah.
is, and I think means it, right? And is able to pull on her own experience to connect and guide Natalie. Again, I just kept finding myself thinking about how that functioned in this particular situation.
Yeah.
It probably does have some positive impacts on the relationship moving forward, but
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah.
mean that like everything's fine now. It
Yeah.
doesn't get rid of the way in which Natalie is worried about her child being exposed to the kind of stuff
Yeah.
that she was exposed to from
Yeah.
Donna, right?
I think that's true. I also think as someone that's gone through this twice with my wife, you don't remember everything, but you remember sort of the core memory pieces of how that whole experience goes. And I think that Natalie will look back on this and remember what Donna has done, remember how she helped her through it, remember that in the moment where she couldn't find anyone else, that Donna really, even in spite of herself, stepped up and was able to give Natalie what she needed. So, is it first few steps in a relationship being fully healed? Maybe unlikely, but there'll still be those things there, but something.
Well, but let's focus on the thing that Natalie says ultimately. So I think this kind of gets to the crux of it. She tells Donna that Natalie, would do anything
Hmm.
for Donna to be okay.
Yeah.
And Donna says like, "Oh, that's sweet" or something. And Alex said, "No, that's fucked up. That's what's not okay about our relationship."
Yeah.
That, um, yeah, I think that man, that really gets to how you think about being a kid,
Yeah.
growing up in that environment. We've seen Donna in Fishes and the way that she can freak out and
Hmm.
the unpredictability of that. And yeah, Natalie would do anything for that to not happen, for her mother to not be suffering, for her mother to not freak out. But that's putting such a felt sense of responsibility on a child in the
Yeah.
first instance. And
Yeah.
that Natalie's saying, no, but that's what's the crux of what's unhealthy about this relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. They have been so long things that they have always, as you said, always willing to do for her, but also things that they're not willing to address with her, things that they've just allowed to build and grow, and ways that they have let her be without addressing it. You know, I don't know how much Natalie blames her mother for things like, Carmi moving away, for Mikey taking his life, for things like that, but that's got to be there somewhere, right? So it must be hard to take those first few steps.
Mhm. Yeah, and I don't know where it goes from here. I mean, is Donna in season 4? Maybe not. There's no guarantee here of what they're
Yeah.
doing with the series overall. Let's talk a little bit about the end, though, when she goes to the lobby and with the facts. We
Yeah.
get like a coda, but
Yeah.
basically, you have the whole episode, basically, and then it functions like a coda. She goes out to the lobby, she sits with the facts.
Yeah.
Um, they kind of comfort her,
Yeah.
joke with her about how she's going to be a grandma now. I don't know. Any thoughts about that? I enjoyed it. It landed
Yeah,
for me.
I think about it in terms of, so we had this conversation last week about the role of the facts in this season and how maybe much more so than any role they played in moving things forward, they were just there for sort of the comic relief often, or the to sort of break the ice or sort of bring some levity to some things. This was an episode where, maybe some of that was needed. I was glad that they did it, as you said, sort of as this coda at the end, that all this buildup, we can at least sort of get back, just let that fall off the cliff a little bit and come back to some, you know, just this is what it's actually like between all of them. And I thought the comfort was sort of sweet on their part, and I think this episode needed to end with a little bit of that, just sort of, okay, let's breathe and release and let
Yeah.
this thing happen. Yeah.
And they actually do release the tension for us here a
Yeah.
bit, which the bear does not always do. The bear does not
Right.
always release tension. They actually do release the tension
Yeah.
for us here a bit. And then we really don't
Yeah.
pick up. We don't see Natalie again in this
Nope.
season. Um,
We don't see her. We don't see Pete. Let me just to Pete, my guy. When it's
yeah.
post 7 months, do not go out of town for a week. This is 23. We have Zoom. We have whatever you need. You can convince your employer to not go out of town.
Where did he go though?
It doesn't say he went somewhere for a week. I don't know that it says where he went.
I feel like when he comes back, he says he won. I think it's probably in there. We need to rewatch the episode
Yeah.
when he's leaving, and I think he says where he was going. You're probably right that there's probably not really an excuse for going anywhere.
Yeah.
But Pete's a little bit of a doofus, and
He is. He
Natalie said it
is.
was okay and that she'd be fine, and he believed her, and
It's never okay,
so on and
Pete.
so
Even
forth.
if they say it's okay, it's never okay.
Right? Yeah, I should have done that. Should have done that. He doesn't know what to do. It's also a nice moment between him and Donna, where she tells him, just be there, basically.
Yeah. Just be there for it. Exactly.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really great episode. It's hard to, I don't even see the point of trying to argue or decide whether
Yeah.
Ice Chips is the best episode of the season or Napkins was the best episode of the
Right.
season. But this definitely feels like it's in the mix for me. And, as you asked me at the beginning of our discussion here, it's the Jamie Lee Curtis of it all. I just think her
Yeah.
performance as Donna is so good.
Yeah. You
Give
needed
her
this
the
episode.
supporting actress Emmy right now.
You need
She
this
got it.
episode just to let her do her thing for 25 minutes. I mean, it was phenomenal.
Yeah. And I appreciated the focus on Natalie,
Yeah.
who I really think as a character has gotten more and more depth over the course of these 3 seasons. I think Abby Elliott is doing a great job there as
Yeah.
well as Natalie. And I care about Natalie, and I want to see more Natalie. And is she okay? And like, where's the
Right.
baby? And did Carmi ever come visit? And
I think
they
Carmi
really do leave
got
us
a
without
picture.
resolution on almost
Yeah.
everything, don't they?
Carmi got a picture. I think that's all we've seen so far.
Yeah. All right. And they eat ice. They eat ice chips.
That's right. Yeah. Which is a real thing. I mean, we all know this.
Yeah. I mean, is it? Wait. Because you have experience with your
Yes.
wife, going in labor and all that. Is it a real thing to like eat ice while you're in labor? Is that
That is something that they
thing?
offer. I don't think that we did.
Oh,
That is
really?
definitely something they offer. When you get to a point where like it's not wise for you to eat or drink anything anymore, that they'll say, yeah, just to have something that can cool you down, that can keep your mind off of things, something just to keep you hydrated. Yeah, here's some ice chips to chew on. Yeah, that they
Okay.
do offer that. Yeah.
All right. Interesting. I wasn't aware of that. I mean, I do have experience of just like eating ice.
Yeah.
I can't say I do it all the time, but I've done it before. It can be an enjoyable experience. You know, just eat
Right,
some
right.
ice. But cool. Um, I think that about does it here. I could
Yeah.
feel like there should be more, but I mean, with both of these episodes we've talked about today, I guess part of it is I just found both episodes to be so emotionally impactful.
Hmm.
And that's the viewing experience more than something to be able to
It is.
articulate in
It
words.
is. Yeah. Like I said, if I wanted to watch a show, and they do plenty of this, but if I wanted to watch a show to learn how to make certain fine dining dishes and follow a crew at a restaurant every single night, I would probably watch something different. I
Yeah.
appreciate the balance of getting some of that with a lot of this other wonderful stuff.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, maybe more food would have been good in
Yeah.
season three, but really powerful episodes in here. And yeah, so I guess that does it. So next week, we're going to take a week off
Yeah,
because
first time ever.
Ryan's going on vacation or something. I'm
Yeah,
hearing.
yeah, I'm gonna be in the middle of nowhere with the kids, so not much podcasting capability.
That's fine. Yeah, we've been doing this every week for over a year, so should be okay. It was a light news week this week. It did occur to me, I'll keep an eye on the news, and if anything feels like it's worth hitting on, I could
Yeah,
record something briefly myself just on the news of the week. But if
there
it's
you
at all
go.
like this week where we struggle to find anything, yeah. So if there's big news, maybe
Yes,
I'll be back solo next week. But I don't really want to do that anyway. I prefer having a conversation.
yes,
So the
sir.
plan is that we'll be off next week on the 12th, and then reconvene on July 19th. And the current plan is we're going to talk about the show coming to Apple TV Plus called Lady in the Lake, starring Natalie Portman. This is based on the novel of the same name by Laura Lippman, not the Raymond Chandler novel from the 1940s, nor the Sir Walter Scott poem from the 19th century, nor the M. Night Shyamalan movie Lady in the Water. It doesn't
Yeah,
relate to any of those things.
definitely not that one.
Anyway, so hopefully people will join us for that. The show, murder mystery broadly. I don't know if you want to say anything more about it to kind of tease it for people.
Yeah, it just follows sort of a very tough black neighborhood in Baltimore in the 1960s, and Natalie Portman is a housewife who's trying to do something else in her life and sort of finds her way into investigative journalism, trying to solve this murder that happens in Baltimore. And there's some very artistic, I think, avant-garde things about this show, but also a real, apparently very, I think, realistic look at what it was like in the black parts of Baltimore in the 1960s. So should be a very interesting show. At least I have my screeners already, so I'll be going through it. We'll be ready to. I think the 19th is when it debuts, so we'll be ready to have that drop if anybody wants to check it out.
Yeah, I still have to email them. But so anyway, we'll check out Lady in the Lake. Hopefully you all will join us on that. As Ryan mentioned, it premieres on July 19th. We'll put out the podcast on July 19th. So hopefully follow along with us. Again, we won't be here next week with apologies on the 12th, but you can check out tvobsessive.com, read about the bear, read about other stuff, peruse the site, as it were. Follow TV Obsessive on social media. Um, check out the YouTube channel. Please do give a like, give a subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, looking forward to it. See you then.